Beyblade Day 2025 is upon us, and while some people were mildly disappointed with the announcements, there is still a lot to talk about, especially when Hasbro joined in on the fun late last night to drop some pictures and even pre-order listings for some upcoming bays. So now it's time to do a semi-quick Beyblade Day 2025 wrap-up, starting with the Takara Tomy news, and let's start it off with the new Xcalibur remake. They gave us a pretty well-made commercial going over this X-Over project remake, similar to what they've done before with the Anniversary set, Dronzer, and Drigger. And what they showed off looks really great, at least from the first impressions. They did a really good job translating Beyblade Burst over into the X system, which is something we've already seen. I mean, they seem to have done a pretty good job with the Valkyrie V2 remake, so I'm not surprised at this, but I think they did great with Excalibur. In fact, the shape looks even more aggressive than the original did. We also need to talk about the box art, which for most of Beyblade X stuff, I kind of skip because all of the X boxes look really similar to each other. But with these crossover bays, especially with this new Excalibur, they did a great job of emulating the original Beyblade Burst packaging design, and it looks amazing. It looks really sharp and vibrant. You even see Jaka at the bottom there. They did a great job, and I'm probably going to be displaying this box back there on my shelf whenever I get it. There are some worries, like the weights, the thinness, and the included parts as well. We have 360 for the ratchet and then gear flat for the bit. Not the most inspiring parts. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have multiple copies of those pieces already, but we are going to get them in a nice Excalibur color scheme. But I give this new Excalibur a 9.2 out of 10, just kind of a random ranking. And if you guys want to get Excalibur for yourselves, make sure to go and check out sponsor of the channel, Mall of Toys. They have Excalibur up for pre-order right now, and they've actually had it up for pre-order for like a week at this point, so definitely go and check them out. Link in the description down below, and make sure to use code ilinnuc to get 5% off. But now let's move on to the rest of the Takara Tomy Beyblade Day news, starting with the World Championship. Now this is probably going to require its own individual video later on, whenever we get more details, because as of right now, they only fleshed out how the championship is going to work for the Japan region. We're still waiting to hear more about the US, Canada, Europe, and just other parts of the world. But what we can say is that there's going to be a World Championship held in Japan in October of this year. They also detailed how the qualifying is going to work in Japan, but we're still waiting for more details on the rest of the world. I'm hoping they're accepting adults as well, just in their own age division, because if they don't, a lot of you guys out there just won't have any opportunity to compete, which would be a major L. That would be really, really disappointing. And that was pretty much all of the major announcements for the Takara Tomy Beyblade Day stream. Well, besides the Battle Pass subscription service. Yeah, Takara Tomy is going to launch a subscription service for Beyblade X that costs 550 yen every month. It's only available to those in Japan though, so if you want to get some of those exclusive rewards, you're gonna have to buy them online. I do think it kind of pays for itself, because whenever you join, there is the new member benefits of a Battle Pass insert and or a glitter holographic Dran lock chip, which looks amazing in the pictures. It's a holographic like a Pokemon card is, where it kind of changes color in the light. Definitely really cool for those in Japan, but it just doesn't apply to literally anybody else. After the live stream, there were definitely some people that were mildly disappointed at how little was announced. I mean, the World Championship is definitely a big deal, but you didn't get any information for anything outside of Japan, so there's not much we can do with that information. Well, Hasbro came to the rescue and saved us from the potential disappointment by dropping a ton of pictures for upcoming Beyblades, And not just pictures, but Amazon pre-order listings. So now let's hop from the Takara Tomy news hype to the Hasbro news hype, starting with probably the least hype bit of news, and that is the new Jurassic World collab packs. I don't really care about Jurassic World. I like Jurassic Park, like the first movie, but we do have a few more double packs to talk about, and these were already seen at Toy Fair just a couple of weeks ago, but now we have a release date as well as pre-orders for them. And the first one we're going to look at is Pearl Tiger and Gill Shark. Getting Pearl Tiger is cool. It's the Hasbro version of Vice Tiger. I'm not surprised at all that they released it in a double pack instead of like a starter or something. And also getting a Shelter Drake kind of remix with Gill Shark is really nice as well. The next double pack has Cowl Sphinx and Crest Leon. This one is a bit more exciting in my opinion because we're getting a UX Bay as part of the double pack. I don't care about this blue Cowl Sphinx though. It wasn't one of my favorite bays or favorite recolors from Takara Tomy, so I don't really love this Hasbro version of it, but Crest Leon is pretty good and it's pretty fun as well. Now we have a couple booster packs to talk about, and one of these is extremely hype and the other one not so much. And let's start off with the lamer of the two first. It is a orange Dagger Dran recolor, and the Takara Tomy version of this was released in a random booster, I believe, and for the most part they kept it the same. They did change up the parts a little bit though. On the original Takara Tomy version, it had point, I believe. And on this Hasbro one, they gave it an orange color Quake, which is not, it's fun. It's definitely a fun bit to battle with, but it's not competitive at all. And it's not really that good at all. So definitely an interesting change. The much more exciting booster though is the Hasbro release of Whale Wave that they are calling Tide Whale. Now this is one of the best X-Bays for the most part. Whale Wave, or now Tide Whale. I don't know how I feel about that name, but the Tide Whale blade is really heavy and the Elevate bit is really, really strong in the meta. But remember, Whale Wave was a random booster select prize, and that made it a little bit more expensive to get, especially for the prize blue and pink color. So Hasbro releasing it in a standard booster is amazing. They did the exact same thing for Keel Shark like a year ago now, so I'm glad they did this, and it's just going to make it even more accessible. And now we can move on to the starters that were listed on Amazon by Hasbro, but before we do that, we need to talk about the new Tournament Stadium. Out of all of the Hasbro news, this is the one that is easily the most surprising because nobody expected Hasbro to release a tournament style stadium. And what that means is a stadium that's the same size as Takara Tomy. Whenever Hasbro's Beyblade X line launched, that was one of the things that people were kind of critical of. The Extreme Battle set came with a smaller, more squished and condensed stadium, which is still pretty good, but not as good as the Takara Tomy version. So Hasbro releasing a Takara Tomy style tournament stadium is amazing. I do have a couple of issues with it though. First of all, the release date is in November, which means it's after the World Championship. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like this is something to release before the World Tournament because it is a tournament stadium, so the release date doesn't make a lot of sense. It's also priced at $49.99 USD, making it kind of expensive. I think that price rivals just buying a Takara Tomy stadium off of Mall of Toys or something. And it is an Amazon exclusive. So for right now, at least, you're not going to be able to go to your local stores like Walmart or Target and buy this tournament stadium. You have to buy it online, which kind of makes sense because the stadium is large. You don't really have a lot of shelf space at these local stores, so I'm not against that, but that November release time, I don't really get that. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but let me know what you guys think about the tournament size stadium in the comments down below. But now let's move on to the starters, and the first one we have is Scarlet Garuda. And this is cool. I'm kind of surprised that they released this as a starter instead of a booster. I feel like a booster would make more sense, but it is still a pretty nice bay, and getting it in a starter is interesting, but I'm all for it. The better of the two starters, though, is most definitely Sterling Wolf. This is a Hasbro UX release. I love the name Sterling Wolf. I like Silver Wolf quite a bit too, but Sterling just hits different. Which name do you guys prefer? But Silver Wolf is really strong in the competitive meta. It's a really strong defensive-oriented bay. It has a really cool free spin gimmick, which I really like, so I'm definitely looking forward to when Sterling Wolf releases from Hasbro. And the final bit of news is Hasbro CX. Now, I've already made a couple of videos about Hasbro CX line already, but now we finally have the release date for them, and some people were saying July 1st, but Amazon says August 1st, which August makes a little bit more sense. I was thinking it'd be around August or September. Pretty much all of these Hasbro releases are going to be dropping before the World Tournament in October, which is a good thing. I'm still interested to see how this World Championship is going to go. Like for the Hasbro Championships or the regionals here in the US, for example, are they going to ban Takara Tomy parts and bays? We're just gonna have to wait for an official news drop, I guess. But let me know what you guys think of the Takara Tomy announcements, despite how few there were. And also let me know how you feel about the massive amounts of Hasbro listings we got kind of out of nowhere. I will see you in the next one. Have fun and bay away.